Good afternoon. Welcome to Two Tall Stitchers. This is episode 69.
69.
My name is Carol. This is my daughter Jennifer. And you can tell who we are because we have these. We'll tell you where we got them in a few minutes.
In a little bit.
Yep. Welcome. If you're new, thanks for coming. We hope you stay. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. Means you can put up with our nonsense.
You'll get lots of that today.
Yes. We have a lot to talk about because we have retreat, and both of us have a bunch of stuff we've actually done, and we had a very nice retreat and everything. So, let's start off with our thanking everybody. We thanked everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, and we have some new subscribers. Jennifer did go back through and pulled a few.
Yeah. So this isn't everybody, but a handful of our new subscribers. Thank you and welcome. Alicia, who we met last weekend. Judy, Darlene, Erica, Jamie with 2 E's, Mary, and Suso. I like that name. Suso. And then also thank you. A couple of other Flosstubers mentioned us. Some of these will be familiar names to you because we say them all the time. But thanks. Helen was talking about, she and I have been going back and forth on 324. And also she has a piece that she's stitching for Lord of the Rings. And every time she talks about it, my husband looks up. It's hysterical because he pays no attention to most of the Flosstube I watch. But when she said Lord of the Rings, he was like, it cracks me up. But last time she actually said something about it and he was sound asleep in his chair. So that was pretty funny too. Rose from Untwist Your Stitches, Allison from Mrs. AZ Family Zoo, who we're doing the Lizzie Kate series Sal with, and Dottie from Stitching Scotty. And we missed seeing you last weekend, Dottie. Hope you're feeling better.
Yes. Okay, let's talk about our quilt of the day.
This is my quilt. It is one that has been around for quite a while. I made this quilt in a class with Judy Laquidara. Judy is now a cross stitcher, and I think she's still an avid knitter. Yep. But years ago, Judy used to be a quilt instructor, and she used to travel and quilt, and she came to our guild, and I was the host for her when she came, and I was super excited to take her to Yats, our Cajun restaurant, which she and her husband enjoyed. And this is the quilt that we made in her class. And it is probably one of my most successful quilts ever. It went together like a dream. She was a great instructor. She had great patterns, and she just told you how to kind of put everything together the right way, and it all fit at the end. That's the amazing thing.
The other thing is she used just solids. She doesn't use prints, as I remember. I think she uses pretty much solids. Yeah. Because you see, there's no prints in this quilt.
Well, this is my fabric. These are the fabric colors I chose to use.
But you didn't choose any prints.
I didn't do anything directional, no. So I named this one Autumn Splendor. And I was looking back on my blog today. I made this one in 2010. That's when the class was. And then in 2011, it won an honorable mention at our guild quilt show in the biggest category in the show, pieced bed quilt, machine quilted, with ours is just machine quilted, I think. Yeah, in the state fair, it's more specific. So I quilted this with a pantograph, which is an all over quilting design that has autumn leaves in it. And so then I named it Autumn Splendor. And it has been on my bed recently. There might be a little bit of cat puke if you look really close, but
she does have a pukey cat.
I do have a pukey cat. So yeah, this is my Autumn Splendor quilt. It is big. You can't see the top. Above here is the same border that's here, and that's on the bottom. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more borders. And it's probably a queen size quilt. I have a king size bed, and you can kind of fake it, but it doesn't go like over the edges. So it's probably really a queen size quilt, and I just love it. I think it's so pretty. So
yeah, it's bigger than the quilt stand, though we can't extend it all the way.
Right, it's longer than the quilt stand is tall.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our quilt of the day.
Yeah. So it's huge.
Okay, life updates. What have you been doing the last 4 weeks?
Well, we had retreat. That was fun. We had a great time. We had a great group with us. We had a bunch of new attendees, and so we got to meet a bunch of new people. and that was really fun. And not that we don't like meeting our returners, but it's just kind of neat sometimes to have some new people come. And it's crooked. Now it's even crookeder. All right.
We're having problems with crooked today.
She was mucking with the camera. We were almost upside down. No, we had a good time. We had a great show and tell. You'll probably insert a few pictures from that.
I can put them at the end.
Yeah. And then the swap, we do a smalls exchange. That's one of my things is, in addition to spending great time with all these wonderful ladies, to me, the show and tell and the swap just make it worth it. You get to see so many beautiful different projects, and you look at that and you think, gosh, I never thought of doing it that way, the way something's finished. Or you see something and you're like, I have to have that pattern. Not that any of us ever fall down that rabbit hole. And, that kind of stuff. And we had some beautiful, beautiful work. So, yeah, Jennifer will insert some pictures at the end.
I'll put them at the end,
Yeah, okay.
So.
I'll make a note.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and just doctor visits. And we got a new toy today.
Wow.
So we got a rollator.
Not for her.
Not for me. So I'm hoping that he remembers to put the brake on when he sits down and stands up. Otherwise, we're going to have him on the floor with the rollator on top of him.
Yeah.
But it's an exciting day. We're very excited.
He was very excited. He walked around the house a couple times, so he's probably sleeping now.
And he's chasing the dog.
Yeah.
Poor dog. He's like, I'm going to get you. And it's got really good turning wheels. For those of you who know people who have them, the wheels just really rotate. And the dog is laying on the floor looking at him, and she's moving. And he's like, come on, So hopefully the dog doesn't run away.
And then last night was prom. So I will ask my son for permission because he's a full-on adult now. Make sure he's okay, but he probably will be okay with me inserting a picture. He went with a bunch of friends this year. They had a great time. He came home, I think, later than he's ever been out, but totally sober. He runs with a good group of kids.
Yeah.
They had a great time, and he slept in super late this morning and then came downstairs and ate a bunch of pancakes. So,
well, that's not unusual. There's nothing unusual about that.
No,
he always eats a lot of pancakes.
He had a good time. So,
yeah,
it's the kind of, we're in this role now of the last time we do all these things.
Yeah.
4 proms. This was the last one, and then in the next month we'll have the last concerts, graduation, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I told her, I said, now you're getting, you know what it feels like, the last prom, you know, and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But he's very ready to be done, and he's ready to move on to that next phase of life. So I'm excited for him.
Yes.
It'll be strange when there's only 2 of us in the house. We'll have a lot more food left. But it'll be good.
Your cooking.
And he'll be excited to go to school.
Yeah, he's looking forward to it. Yeah. He's looking forward to it.
Well, we have a bunch of questions,
yes,
so I thought I would bring a couple of previous finishes because I know one person who is related to a viewer. It's their pet peeve if you go too long without seeing anything cross-stitch. So we'll start with a couple pieces of cross-stitch, and then we'll get into questions. And if you don't have, if you haven't gone to the bathroom in a while, you don't have a drink, you might want to pause here and get that, because I have a feeling we're going to chat for a while today. We have a lot to talk about in big piles. Yeah. So here are my previous finishes. I brought these along from spring and Easter things that I've stitched. This was from the Lizzie Kate. She has a series that was the seasons.
Yeah.
And I don't know the exact name, but this is from the spring one. Each season has a pillow. And I know you have winter. I might have winter as well. I don't think I have summer or fall, autumn.
I wouldn't be surprised if I have them all. I just don't know.
You might, yeah. So it's just a little small, and I finished it into a pillow with that crazy fabric on the back and some rickrack, and that sits in my little, chenille, not rickrack, and that just sits in my little bowl on my coffee table. And then this one is from Val's Stuff. I don't remember the name of it. It's an old one. I got this on clearance probably 10 years ago, which means it's probably 20 years old. And this was a really fun one to stitch. And then I finished it in the cube finish. I stitched it in 2018. So that tells you it was probably 10 years old when I bought it, and I may have had it a couple of years. This was stitched on some type of linen. It looks like probably 28 count taupe or tan or summer khaki or one of those. Yeah. And that was a fun one. So that sits up on my mantle. And then this one was one of my FFOs last year, I think. This is from the Brenda Gervais Easter book. Hop to It or something like that. She stitched hers on 40 count and it was really small. I had this great piece of fabric and I wanted to use my sulky thread. So I stitched it on 28 count with sulky threads and used one strand of sulky on that. And I absolutely love how it turned out.
It was 1/2.
It was, yes, 1/2.
Yeah, I like it with this sulky.
And that fabric could not have been more perfect. That was in my stash. And I didn't know if I was going to put this on a frame to hang it, but this year I just leaned it up at on the mantle. It just leaned up. So it's not even finished in the back. Maybe it will be someday, but right now it just kind of leans up on the wall. So those are my previous
Let
finishes.
me just point out, she did a really good job with her backing fabric, getting it lined up because it was stripes. And the other day when Helen was working on one, she said, I put them on a diagonal so you don't have to worry about the stripes matching up. But you've done a really good job on this one.
Thank you.
And I do have some Easter ones. God only knows where they are. She just, I didn't even think about it. It's just been, it's busy around here. And I didn't even think about pulling them out until we were about to sit down, and then I thought, no, that'll take another hour. So
that's okay.
Maybe I'll have some next time.
We'll get them next time.
Yeah. I'll make myself a note.
Or you can bring some like more spring into summer ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can dig up.
Last episode, we asked you what your favorite market release was. And at first I thought there's no way I can capture all of these and write them all down. And then I thought, well, it would be kind of fun to hear what everybody liked. And then the first couple answers repeated. So I'm like, well, maybe it's not really statistics, but I could still do numbers. The most favorite market release, drum roll, without a doubt, we had 17 people say they loved Nativity Tiny Town. And I think a couple people had already started stitching it. Yeah,
I haven't started stitching it, but I got it.
That was a super popular one. And very pretty. So I'll go through a bunch of them that were listed. I didn't tell you all the designer names here because I would have run out of ink in my pen. You can see we have a full page of favorites. But if you go back to episode 68 and you look at the comments, you will find almost everybody put the name of the designer. So if you hear something here that you like, you can go find out who the designer is. So we'll go through the most popular ones first and then all the onesie twosies. So second most popular was Ladybug Picnic, which is that adorable ladybug on the pink fabric. Pomegranate, which we brought home to our shop and it's sold out. There's like scraps left. The next most favorite was Erin Elizabeth, Birds in Nature Sparrow. And that one's, I lied. Sorry. Ahead of Birds in Nature Sparrow by one vote was Pigeon and Puddle, which is blue flower, I'm pretty sure. And I have to go back and look at it. I think we bought it for the shop, but I don't remember.
There were a couple things we looked at. I said, did we buy that? Well, we must have, because it's marked for market. So.
Yeah. So behind Pigeon and Puddle then was Birds in Nature Sparrow. And then behind that we had Bun Bun from Artsy Housewife. That's the big, beautiful bunny. That's such a pretty one. Milady's Posies from maybe Jan Hicks. Maybe. I'm not positive.
Go back and check the comments.
Let's see. I think there was another with 3. Nope. Then 2, Liberty, Green Santa. Somebody else here liked that Green Santa. Joy by Shakespeare's Peddler. Ode to Libraries. And then a lot of people mentioned ones and they were the only person, but I'm sure not the only person who loved them. Madras Beanstalk, The Sweet Birds Sing, Red Barn Sampler, Guth R 1874, that's a sampler, Birdie Bowl, Flamingo Flamboyance, Mabel Took Sampler, Pear Fair, Equal and Free, Strawberry Thieves, Dandelion Wishes, Summer Garden, Spring Animals Trip, Stitches Be Sweet, Cross Stitches My Cardio, Chubby You, Forget Me Not, Disagree, In and Out, A Daily Reminder. The cookbook got a vote for somebody's favorite. And then we had one person who said all the blue flower designs and one person who said all the Robin Pickens designs. So it was really fun looking at these favorites because you know how social media works. It just shows you more of what you like. And what I loved about this is there were so many of the designers represented in these favorites.
Yeah.
And each one I read, it made me think about their room at market. So it was just kind of fun. Like, even if I didn't remember the exact piece, I remembered the room. So thank you very much. That was very fun. Good. And can't wait to see you all finish all of your favorites or maybe start them. I don't know if I had a favorite this time.
Well, like I said, I really like that green Santa.
Yeah, yours was the green Santa for sure.
I don't know.
I don't know.
There's so many.
So
many.
Yeah.
That's the trouble.
Maybe so my favorite is the one I've already finished and FFO'd.
Yeah. Mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we both have a finish and an FFO.
Yeah.
Shocking. Oh, and I guess the one that caught my eye was when you said the library stitcher. Ode to a library. Yeah, because Sharon, who is one of our new attendees at the retreat, was working on that, and she said she was a former librarian. And so she said,
I think that's Mrs. Bingley's library. That's an older release.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So that means there's
Wrong
a new
one.
library.
Okay, Sharon. Release. So now there's a new one you have to go after. But yeah, she was as a librarian. It's interesting how people, relate to patterns.
Yes.
It's like my best friend was a balloon pilot, so I've made her balloon things.
All kinds of balloon
things. A lot of balloon things, and she was also a realtor, so I've made her real estate things too. Anything she picked up, boy, I was all over it. She's got lots.
You have to be really careful, like our family and friends. If you tell us you like something, like that's what you're getting for the next 10 years in fabric or cross stitch or t-shirts or whatever.
Yep.
My one cousin loves Paris and the other one loves dogs. And like
she likes black and white cows too.
She went through a black and white cow phase. Then she went through a dachshund phase. So yeah, they get a lot of whatever. Yes. So just be careful if you're close to us and you ever tell us what you like. Okay, I started to go to whips, but we have a lot of questions before we get there. So Dee,
you might want a glass of wine today,
Bonnie,
not just
no matter what time of the day, you might need some booze for this one. Dee and Bonnie had questions about retreats. Dee asked, do we have another retreat this year?
Yes, we do. We have one in August.
And it's full already.
Yes.
But we're taking a wait list. We went through our entire wait list for our March retreat.
Yes, we did.
So never fear, if you're on the wait list,
There's
might
a possibility.
get in.
And if you want to, the information is underneath, at the bottom of the
in the
box, and fill out the form and send it to us. But do not send money.
No, it's not on the form anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then Bonnie wants to know more about our retreats. Well, Bonnie, we have 2 retreats a year in Whitestown, Indiana, at a Hampton Inn. And we take over the conference room and have a great time stitching. It's a sit and stitch retreat. No teachers, no shop. The only activities we do are introductions the first night and then show and tell on Saturday night.
And a group picture.
And then the exchange, gift
swap.
Exchange is optional. So if people want to do it, they can. If not, they don't have to. And we usually have somewhere between, I would say 8 and 15 people who do the swap. It's great fun. There are lots of restaurants in the area.
Yep. And we have 30 people who come.
Yeah.
And then we have, 28, not counting us. And then we also, persnickety is like 10 minutes away. And so she always gives us a gift certificate for a door prize. So some lucky person always wins a gift certificate there. And what else? It's basically, you just can come and go as you please.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's been an AGA garage sale. People went down to that.
Oh yeah.
They didn't have it. I don't know if they're having it
in
again,
August. It was in August.
Yeah. And so there's and the state fair is on it. If people want to go down and see the quilts, they can. And there's just a bunch of different things. And so it's a very low key retreat. There's no pressure. Like we said, we only request you to be there on Friday night for intros and Saturday for show and tell and group pictures. And we have door prizes through the weekend.
So if you're interested in our retreats, you will find a link below for retreat information. And if you follow that link, it will tell you dates and wait list forms and things like that. We usually leave the retreat with it full for the next year because we offer the current attendees the chance to sign up for the next year right there. And almost every year, all of them sign up for the next year.
Yes.
So we generally just run a wait list. And then if people need to cancel, we go down the wait list.
Yep. We had 2 ladies who had another retreat that they could have gone to next year, but they don't want to give up their space. So they're skipping it so that they can come to our retreat, which is kind of a nice thing to know.
Yeah.
But we have a great group of people.
We do.
You know, it's just been fun. You get to know everybody because it's small enough, and I think the introductions help.
Yeah.
And then there's always somebody who has a question about something, and we have a little bell we ring when you finish a project, so everybody gets to ooh and ah over that. And yeah, there's just all kinds of
It's great.
It's fun. We enjoy it.
And we have people that fly in, and
Yep.
if you decide to fly in and not rent a car, there's plenty of people with cars that can get you around.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Susan asked which book my Blue Jay came from. Susan, that was from Stitching in the Forest by Pigeon Coop Designs. That is one of many excellent designs in that book. You'll be seeing more over the years.
It's a great book.
Yeah. And I know that's available to purchase as a book or as a PDF.
Mm-hmm.
Kim.
And he is located in Canada.
He is in Canada. And Canada, you know, tariffs, challenges. He posted on his stories not long ago that if your order is under $600, it is not subject to tariffs. So you can buy a lot of cross stitch from Canada before you have to pay tariffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just postage will kill you. But.
Yeah, it might, yeah. Kim asked, how do we organize our stitching time? When do we stitch? What do we decide? Like, how long?
Well, I'm not a morning person. And yeah, when I was in Girl Scouts, I told them, I said, don't call me before 9 o'clock in the morning, but you can call me till midnight. Anytime before 9 o'clock, I'm not responsible for what I say. So I did get down fairly early for the retreat. I was good.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, I do better when I'm motivated and I have somebody kicking me out of bed. Because we do stay at the retreat, yes.
Yeah.
But my stitching time tends to be in the afternoon or the evenings. That's my, time.
And you often stitch with your friends on Wednesday
Yes,
afternoon at the
I have a stitch group on Wednesday, and then we meet in the library for twice a month on a Saturday morning. That's one morning I do stitch.
Yeah.
And then, is that all? Seems like there's one more.
The Stitching and Indie group that comes
they come every other month, but that's an afternoon stitch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I do most of my stitching in the evenings after dinner. I have my stitching bag and my light all set up, and most evenings I will be stitching while I watch TV or watch YouTube or
talking on the phone with me.
Yeah, talk to my mom on the phone. So that's when I stitch. And I prefer to stitch for probably 2 hours in the evening if I can get it in. That hasn't been the case recently, but when job is calm, I can usually get a couple hours of stitching in. And then I'm hit or miss on Saturdays, but on Sundays, I stitch every Sunday morning during CBS Sunday morning. I tell people it's like my church. Don't call me. Don't bug me. I'm not answering my phone.
I know not to call
It better be an emergency. Yeah, it was like when Outlander was on. There have been a couple shows throughout the years. When they're on, you don't bother me, and when CBS Sunday morning is on, you don't bother me.
And I stitched through it this morning too. Yeah, I love that show.
So I sit on the couch in my pajamas and have my tea and do my stitching, and then usually I watch some Flosstube after that until I get to a good stopping point. And some days, if I don't have anywhere to go, I might sit and stitch till 12:30 or 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
So.
And lots of times at night, if I'm stitching, I'm like, okay, I'm almost done with this, or I'll do another length of thread, or whatever. And so, the next thing I know, it's 1 o'clock again.
And we're both famous for, in our stitching and our quilting, saying, like, when I finish this, I can go to the bathroom. I won't tell you how many times we've had to run to the bathroom. Okay.
It's a joke at retreat.
Kathy wanted to know, when we do hoop finishes, how do we affix the felt to the back of our hoops? Well, how do you do it?
I have not done a hoop finish yet, but my plan is probably to use sticky back felt because you can get that by the sheet. You used to be able to get it at Joann's. God knows where I'm going to find it now. But and it's just got the paper on the back and you just, you
Peel
draw
it off.
your circle, peel it off and stick it on.
Yeah.
And that works pretty well.
So I don't have a lot of sticky back felt, and I've done several hoops. I have done it both ways, 2 ways. First way, I've cut it and just glued it. And then if it's a little bit big, I just come in with scissors and trim, but I glue to make sure it sticks all the way to the hoop. And then I usually put it in a bag and then put books on top of it to really like seal it in there. And then I have also whip stitched the felt to the hoop, or really you're whip stitching it to the fabric for the stitched piece. That takes a little longer. It looks about the same. So I think glue is the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's next? Marcia asked if I could share a link for the lamp that I bought. Yes, I can. I'm happy to share that below. And I heard there are other people who have that lamp as well. Jenny asked about our scroll frames. So first of all, and Craig also asked about our scroll frames. First of all, we had a lot of questions about them in the very beginning. So if you go all the way back to probably episodes 2 and 3, you'll find us talking quite a bit about them. But Jenny wanted to know kind of, when do we decide to use them? Why do you use a scroll frame instead of a Q-snap? And then do we have a brand that we recommend? And Craig asked where we got them. So maybe we do a quick answer.
Okay, the scroll frames were purchased at Lee Ward in Houston.
In the 1990s.
In the 1990s, because she went to college and called me and said I had one.
Yeah.
And she went to college and called me and said, I have this great class I'm going to take, but I need a scroll frame. So I went out to Lee Ward with my coupon and bought her a scroll frame and sent it up to her at school. Yeah. So we bought them 30 years ago.
Yeah.
At least. And I like it because it gives you good tension and you don't get marks on your fabric. When you're using a hoop, and especially if you're doing something like with Aida, which is really stiff Aida, like that comes in the tubes and stuff, that hoop mark can be hard to get out.
Yeah.
And I just like it.
I think when we got them, Q-snaps didn't even really exist.
No,
so it was either a hoop or a scroll frame.
Yeah.
I tend to use mine when I have a piece that's going to take longer to stitch.
Yes.
And or a piece that won't fit fully inside of a
Q-snap or a hoop.
Q-snap, yeah. I very rarely use hoops. But the other thing that's a consideration is that my bars are only so wide. So I'm going to show you my reindeer today. That's a really long piece that wouldn't fit on my scroll frame. It would have to go the wrong way.
There are different lengths of scroll frames.
But I don't have
bars,
one long enough for
but,
that. Yeah.
I don't think there's one that long.
So some of it has to do with size and then complexity of the pattern. If I know it's going to be a long pattern, I will put it on my scroll frame. Or if it's one I really think I want to make sure I get the tension perfect on it.
Well, when I did my Halloween rules and it was the Christmas, what's the other one? Christmas rules.
Yeah.
I put both of those on scroll frames because it just kept them okay.
Yeah.
And but it's just a preference.
Yep.
We've had them
we
for
love
years.
our scroll frames. Yes. Betty asked where I got the oval hoop that I used in my Blue Jay finish. Amazon. It came in a multi-pack. I think there were 2 of them, maybe 3. So I'll be looking for something else to stitch that'll need an oval finish like that. And then Pat asked about your quilt, which was our quilt of the day last time. And she asked if you had the pattern name and or fabric information.
The pattern name is Housewarming Party by Bloom Creek. And it was a block of the month. I have all the monthly segments. And it came as a kit. So I don't know, as far as kitting up the fabric, I don't know if you could find it because I made it. I don't know that there's a date on here.
A few years ago.
Yeah, I made it a few years ago, just a few. But I'm not going to do it again. So I have all the patterns. And if you would like this pattern, I am more than willing to share it. Mm-hmm. So just drop us a note, send an email to twotallstitchers@gmail.com. Tell me you're interested in Housewarming Party. And if we have more than one, we'll do a drawing for it.
Yeah.
But I'm more than willing to share it. It was a lot of fun to work on.
Yeah.
And
it turned out beautifully. You got a lot of nice compliments on it.
Yes, thank you for all the compliments.
Yeah.
It was a joy to work on. And it may go in the state fair.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We got to register soon. Registration will open in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Cindy asked if we knew the pattern on the snowflake piece that Mom's friend Bonnie had stitched, and we cannot find it. We did a Google image search, and I also did a word search, and we can't find anything. So our guess is that it came from Etsy a long time ago, or she picked it up years ago at some shop. But
She did probably get it from Etsy.
Oh,
she did get products from Etsy.
She got a lot from Etsy.
And so that there's no way we can track it, I don't think.
Yeah. So sorry, Cindy. But if you type white snowflake tree cross stitch in Google, you get some really pretty stuff. So maybe you'll find another one that will work. Okay, I think that's all our questions.
Yes.
Are we ready to go into some whips?
Yes.
You want me to start?
Sure.
I have a big pile of whips. So at retreat last weekend, I decided that I would do a new start each day and a whip each day. I didn't actually do that in the end, but that was the plan. So on Saturday, my new start was Ink Circles, Reflections of Ireland. This was from Market in 2023. Oh, that's the other thing. I brought projects from 3 different years of Market. So this was my 2023 project, and I am stitching this on, I wrote it down, 32 count confetti Lugana. I don't think it needs a backer. No, it's solid enough.
Yeah.
And that's how far I got. I'm stitching it with DMC 4045. Did I say the name of the Lugana is Confetti? It's a yellow and it has a few shades of blue and pink in it, but this is the least shaded part of the piece of fabric that I have. So I stitched on it just a little while on Saturday, and then I wound up stitching it all day Sunday, and I got kind of a quarter of the way around the outside. So the cross at the top is the halfway point, and it'll go right next to the castle and the pipe down here on my right. I don't know if it's your right or left, right there. And that's a quarter of the way around. So I think usually...
Hold it a little closer.
When I stitched my last Ink Circles piece, I did each quadrant and then I repeated. But this time I think it might be fun to go all the way around with this and then come back and do the stuff in the middle. So that's Reflections of Ireland. And it's a really fun one. And I look forward to getting back to it. Okay.
Okay. I had a whip. This is the Erin Elizabeth Believe. And my piece of paper is downstairs that has the fabric, but it's the opalescent. And I'm this far on it. I'm getting really close to finishing. I still have to put the word in and everything, but I'm getting close to a finish. I did not take it to retreat because I had other stuff I wanted to work on, but I'm really enjoying working on it, and I'm looking forward to finishing that. And that one I'll probably finish in a hoop. We'll see. That could be real interesting. And this was done on DMC. Is it 3865? Yes, because I got to library stitching a couple weeks ago, and I had everything with me except my floss. But luckily, Kathy had a skein of floss. So she gave it to me, and I replaced it, and I was able to stitch that day. Because I had everything. I had the pattern, I had my stand, I had my everything. Needles, except the floss. One of my better days.
Okay, my next one is Snarky. So if you don't like Snarky, you might want to fast forward a few minutes. This is the chart I also worked on last Saturday. So it was a day of heavy green stitching. This is Adios Bichachos from Solvum Probler on Etsy. And I also stitched on it since I got home. And that's how far I am. And yes, he is doing what you think he's doing. And he makes me chuckle. And it was in my Q-Snap a little wonky on Saturday, so it looked like he was dancing. It was cracking
Not dancing.
Yeah. So there he is, my little cactus. He cracks me up. And this is stitched on 36 count weathered stone from Atomic Ranch and with the called for DMC threads. And all I have to do is type in or stitch in bachachos, and that'll be a finish. And for those of you who've been here a while, you might recall that I love Stitch Mania, and my goal in Stitch Mania is 5 whips and 5 new pieces. And what I try to do each year is get to 5 whips by the start of May so that I'm touching all my whips, and I'm at 7 whips right now.
Ooh.
So the goal is this will bring me down to 6 whips, and then one more finish will bring me down to 5, and then I'll get to work on all my whips in May.
That'd be good.
And do 5 new starts.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah.
This is Needlework ABCs by Little House Needleworks. This was last year at Retreat. Beth brought a bunch of different kitted projects and everything. Someone had passed away and someone had passed them on to her, and she said, just take them, I don't want them. And so, you know, I like these long ones. And I had stopped working on it for a while. I was working on my niece's at our house. And so instead, I pulled it out because I found it in the bottom of a bag. And I brought it to Retreat, and I was here. I think I was finishing the P or the Q. And so I've done all of this and those letters. And I'm now working on the skirt that never ends, the dress that never ends. I worked on it last night and this morning. And I'm really having a lot of fun with it. And again, it's on a Q-snap because and you can see I have a lot of Q-snap pieces.
Yeah.
And so
it is straight. It
is straight. It's wonky because of the way I put it in.
Yeah.
But so I just have to finish the border down here, her skirt down here, and a few letters, and then go back and do just some small fill-ins.
Yeah.
But basically, it's probably 85% done. Yeah.
And the called for fabric is 32 count Confederate Gray from Weeks Dye Works, which I'm not sure is named that anymore. This looks like that fabric.
Yeah, it's very loose. It's a very loose weave.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating sometimes to figure out your holes. Very frustrating. But I'm enjoying stitching it.
My next whip I took to Retreat, but I didn't work on because my whole plan to do 1 whip and 1 new start each day only worked for 2 days. By the 3rd day, I just wanted to keep working on that Ireland piece. So I never got to a whip, and I never got to a new start on Sunday.
Pretty.
But ahead of Retreat, I had spent a couple of nights working on Kaleidoscope by Yasmin's Made with Love. I am stitching this with Michelle from Penny's Daughter Shares. And actually, while she was at Retreat, she decided to recolor. She had recolored it originally, and she was using anchor threads, which she decided she did not like. So she
restarted it?
She's going to restart, but she picked all new threads for it when we were shopping at Persnickety.
That's what
so
you were
that
doing
was
that day.
fun.
Okay.
Like I said, I love spending other people's money. This is on 40 count butter, which I think is also an Atomic Ranch. And you can see where I've gotten to. There are some problematic thread colors in here. The F is almost the same color as the fabric, and the P is almost the same color as the fabric, and I decided I don't care. Because I don't want to go to the effort of trying to recolor all of these and find other threads that work, and I think you'll still get the gist of it.
Yeah.
And in person, you can see them well enough that I think it'll be fine in the end.
And if you wanted to, you could take a darker yellow and just outline the letters, and it would show. I would do that. Just take a shade darker, and because that makes such a difference. That would just set it off.
So I think all I worked on was letters in the couple of days I worked on it. But I'll be looking forward to doing the next motif. I have 4 motifs left, and obviously a bunch of letters of the alphabet. So that was a fun piece to pull out for a couple of nights. This may not see the light of day until Stitch Mania when it comes up on my whip projects.
Okay, then the next ones I have are finishes. So.
Oh, okay, you're up to finishes. I have 3 more whips. No, 2 more whips. My next whip, I just worked on one morning since I've seen you last. And this is the piece that I started when I was in New York with my daughter. And this is my piece for the Lizzie Kate series style this year. And it's called well, it's the B48 Inspiration Boxer. Don't cry because it's over. And I'm doing the big piece. And this is in my Q-snap. Oh, good. My needle is on the back. This one does need a backer. And that's where I am. I think I worked on it one morning and I got cry and maybe some of the other letters done. Originally, I was just going to work on this piece when I traveled, but I think I could finish it this month if I put some focus to it. So this may be the other whip that I focus on for a finish before the end of this month. So there's Don't Cry. It is on the kit fabric with the called for threads, except I made one change, and I think it's the color for the word cry, and it's Sampler Threads Cinders is the color that I chose to use. So that's where I am on that whip. And then I had one more whip with a partial finish, and that's my reindeer. I think last time I don't know if I had started Donner or not.
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but Donner is the next to last reindeer in the Heinzit Crystal Reindeer series, and I got him finished up. And guess what? This time I didn't mess it up royally like I did the last couple of reindeer. So first we'll look at Donner and then we'll look at all of them. Okay, there is Donner, and he has pine branches in his antlers. I will add the crystals that go to these at the very end. This is the one I was saying it's too wide for one of my scroll bars.
Yeah.
And so that's where we are so far. You might notice that it looks really well centered right now. I still have to fit another reindeer here. And I think I'm gonna have a 1/2 inch margin at the end, which is just enough to throw some fabric on, and then I can frame it in a tight frame.
Now that could have gone on a scroll bar if you'd wanted it this way.
It could have, I guess, yeah. But there's all the reindeer. I absolutely love them. I'm stitching this on 36 count opalescent white linen. And I'm using 2 threads over 2. A lot of times on 36 count, I use 1 thread, but the pattern called for 2 threads, and I wanted it to be dense in this, just like it looks in the picture. And I'm really glad I chose to do that. It's all DMC threads.
And you saw that finished up at Acorns and Threads when you were in Oregon.
Yes, and that's where I got the fabric for this, because they had it done on the opalescent and it was gorgeous. And they had it framed in the model, in the same frame as the picture. And when I was there, she still had 1 left. So I don't know. We'll see. I might.
Oh, you didn't get the frame?
No, I didn't get it because I couldn't have brought it
flying.
home.
That's
we were
right.
flying. Yeah. So who knows? We'll see. I may call her and see if she still has one, and maybe she can even bring it to market.
I was going to say she'll bring it to market.
Yeah. Okay. That's all my whips.
Okay. So I have some finishes. Yes.
Yes.
I was working on it. So I think I showed you this last time. I started this and I did all the words and the blocks, and then I left the back, the light color fill in, because I thought I could just whip that out at retreat. Well, it's a lot of filling.
Yes, whip it out.
I didn't quite whip.
She filled in a lot.
But I spent a lot of time filling, but it is done now. So there it is. Whoops. This I had in my Nerge hoop. And I think, is that, yeah. So it's all finished. I finished it actually at home.
Do you know what?
Retreat. I think it's 32 count beautiful beige, because that's the 3rd thing I've started on that project, and it's the only one that I actually finished. I started the wedding one on there, and it wasn't long enough. Then I started Julie's, and it wasn't long enough. And I started this one, and bloody well it fit.
Good. And how do you think you'll finish it? How's it finished?
It's finished this way as a shape, and either I'll finish it that way or Teresa will.
Yeah. Is it with Brick Rack? Did you get the
it's got brick
kit or no?
No, I don't have it. It's just red brick rack.
Oh, it's just an ornament.
It's just it's an ornament. It's an ornament. So we'll see. So that's it.
It's just a pillow. It's just a shaped pillow.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard.
And you have plenty of fabric to do it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
did you use the called for colors? And why is there a red X?
Oh, because that was to show me what was at the top when I was working on the wedding thing. And it's done with it'll come off with
soluble.
Well, it'll come off with heat.
Oh, okay.
And I just haven't
friction.
taken it off yet.
Yeah.
Okay, this is 32 count taupe, which it could be.
theirs.
No, this is beautiful beige.
Yeah.
And it was cherry cobbler, marsh, tree lot, and tusk. I think
Didn't you pull color?
I pulled colors. I don't think I pulled colors. They're in the bag here, but
Okay.
I didn't.
I think you used color and cotton for this.
Since I only have 10,000 different skeins, I thought I'd try and use one of them actually. So
You go, and then
okay.
I'll show this.
All right, then this is a skinny one, Deck the Halls by
October
House. And I had started that, and this is done on, guess what? 36 count Edinburgh linen antique white. And again, I pulled my own colors because they had several, but I was just like, no, I'm gonna use what I have. And so that's Deck the Halls. There are a few little pieces in it, the single ones I'm not gonna put in these. They
singles
do much.
cross stitches.
Yeah, they don't do much for me. So that's finished, and hopefully I'll get it made into a pillow before Christmas.
Yeah.
It's only April.
You need to make a pillow pile and have a pillow day.
That would be a good thought.
Yeah.
A good thought. But so
That's
so
really
I finished.
pretty.
Yeah.
Your colors, I think, if
I
you
did
hold
primary.
up the pattern again, below it, you can see they were kind of lighter, pinker colors.
Yeah.
And you chose primary.
Yeah, I'm a primary.
I really like how bright it is.
Yeah, I'm a primary person. So that was done with my colored cotton.
Okay.
That I did.
Good.
Because when I was in the colored cotton kit for a while, I had primary. I picked primary brights, and they had some great brights. So that's what I did.
I had a big finish
the
first night at retreat. It's something I've been working on for a long time, and I don't even need to show you the pattern because it's done. I finished 324. I had 9 motifs to go when I got to retreat, and our friend Karen gave me thread for 7 of them, and I had 2 in my bag. And so on Friday, this is the first thing I stitched on, and by Friday, I think even before dinner, I finished it.
I can't remember, but yeah, because
then I think
Friday.
I came back after dinner and had my new start for Friday. So there is 324. It's 324 colors of DMC, probably about 50 of them that came from Karen. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you sharing your full set stash with me. And I absolutely love stitching this. This is on 32 count Lugana Silvery Moon, I think is the color. Yeah. It's the same color I did my temperature stitch on 2 years ago. And so I plan to frame it in a black frame, just like the temperature stitch is in a black frame, and hang them in the same area in my house. So there it is. It was a lot of fun.
And what's really frustrating to me is that I think it's gorgeous and everything, but with my huge bag of DMC and her supply of DMC, we still didn't have all the bloody colors. Yeah, it was kind of aggravating. She'd call me up and say, "Do you have no?" And Karen came through, and thank you, Karen. But still, it just was frustrating that we didn't have them with all the things that we have.
So that was a very fun stitch, and it will be a finish sometime soon.
Yep. And now we both have a market finish.
Yes.
We can show them at the same time, pretty much, right? I couldn't find mine, but it was loose in the bag. I thought I lost it.
So this was my Friday night start and Saturday morning finish. I don't know why I didn't finish it Friday night, because it was easy and simple. Here they are.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, they're on their hangers.
They're wood.
Yes.
They're wood, and they came as a kit. I actually ran home and got mine.
After I finished mine, she was like, I'm going to go get mine. So these are from Canadian Stitchery.
Yes.
We got them at Market. And let me just say, the owner of this shop, who was also with Haystack Stitching, they were so sweet. We really enjoyed chatting with them and buying stuff from them.
Yes.
And they were fun to stitch.
Yep.
And then they included
the pre-cut back. You didn't have to do anything. It even had the hole in it.
Yes. So you just whipped off the paper and you put it on, and then the piece of twine was in the package as well.
Yep.
So we both left with a fully finished ornament.
Yes.
Yay!
Exciting.
Yes.
But do check out Canadian Stitchery.
Yes.
Because she's got, oh gosh, what were the others? I made Vicky go
there
through all
was
of
a bunch of Christmas sweaters, like
Yep.
ugly
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
sweaters. There was a Yeti.
Snowman Christmas sweater.
There was a cardinal.
Yep. And there was
the bookmarks.
And the bookmarks. The bookmarks are stunning. If you want a quick gift for a friend who reads a lot, it's a long, skinny piece of wood, and it's a pretty scene.
Yeah,
and there's a
it's
lighthouse.
maybe 8 or 10 stitches wide.
Yeah,
it's not very.
it's a
wide.
lighthouse,
Yeah.
and then it comes with the velvet to put on the back.
Well, there were multiple different bookmarks. The
Yes.
one that Vicky stitched was a lighthouse.
Right, but there's
like
that's what I'm saying. Check it out.
Yeah.
Check it out. But the best part was that she took her leftover floss on her bookmark and made a long, and it looks so pretty. It's in the case.
Yes,
you have
I
to
did
look.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we both came home with an FFO.
Yes.
Which is exciting,
And we
especially
both
for me.
Gifted an FFO as well, so I will need to insert pictures here of the finishes that
Well, I'm
we
not
created
done.
for the gifted. Oh,
all right. You want to do that? Okay.
yeah, we can do these
Okay.
and then you can do that. So for the gift exchange, I stitched stitching bag from Shepherd's Bush, and this came from market a couple of years ago. It was fully kitted up with the bag and the threads and the buttons and everything. So I stitched that a couple weeks before retreat and finished it up, and that was my exchange. And I can't remember who got mine.
I can't remember now.
But it was very fun to give away, and you'll see in a little bit. I'll put a picture here of the finished bag, but it looks just like this.
And I did Teresa Koget's free pattern Create, and again I used my Color and Cotton Brights, and I did the letters of the rainbow for Create, and Jennifer will insert a picture of that.
Yeah.
And it went to Beth, and she said she's going to put it in her sewing room as her inspiration to work. So, and then I have one more FFO. Don't faint. Look what's done. Look what's done. On a hanger. On a hanger. Where's the hanger? On the hanger, which I got from Amazon. But it's all finished, all done and finished. And I finished it. I happen to have pumpkin fabric in my stash.
Cute.
And so it worked perfectly, the color and the pumpkins and everything. So yeah, so that's my Halloween rules.
So this was yours from last year's Lizzie
yeah.
Kate series, Sal. And if you have questions about how Mom finishes her bell pulls, I think we talked about that in the last episode.
Yeah.
No lining, no batting, nothing in between. Just the fabric stitch piece and the fabric. It's just 2 layers wide. Oh, that looks great.
Yeah.
I think you need to hang it in here the rest of the year.
Okay. We'll find a place for
spot, maybe over there.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I could hang Christmas rules next to it too.
Yes, you should. You should, because they're both so cute.
Yeah.
You don't want to look at it just once a year.
No, it's so pretty. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing this. It was fun. I like doing Lizzie Kate stuff.
Yeah. Her stuff is great.
Yeah.
Now you want to hear the funny story is we were on our way home from lunch today, and something came up about FFOs, and she said she had her Lizzie Kate one finished, and I said, "You do?" She said it was at show and tell at retreat. I took pictures of every single show and tell piece that was there. Didn't even realize it. I mean, like I saw it, but it didn't register.
And it was sitting by
With
this.
her name. Yes. Yes. So that was pretty funny. I think that's all our stitching.
I think
right?
so. I think so.
We have Haul and Happy Mail. Maybe I'll start with Haul. And then a lot of our Happy Mail is from retreat. So we'll do this one first. So I had loaned a pattern to, I don't know if you say your name, Lucia or Lucia, in Rhode Island. And she sent me back a nice thank you note. And she included in that an envelope full of goodies, patterns, and silk threads. Thank you so much. These are great. Mom and I are going to be fighting over a few of them.
We already talked about it.
Yeah.
That's why the start was a little late, because she said, oh, look at the Happy Mail we got, and then we got into it. So
So anyway, thank Thank you very much. It was very sweet of you to send back some of your stitched pieces or patterns for pieces you've already stitched. We look forward
Thank
to
you for sharing your patterns.
some of those
Gifting
as
your
well.
patterns.
Yes. And then should we do gifts from retreat and then haul?
Well, I've got my haul out
You
already.
have your haul already. Okay.
Okay.
You start. I'll move all my
Okay.
stuff.
This is Dogwoods in the Round by Heart and Hand, and it comes, you put it on a really pretty cream colored bowl. You know, I finished the other one, the other letters that are on the dark red bowl, and Jennifer said, well, just use that bowl. I said, no, because it won't match. So this shouldn't take too long to do.
This had nothing to do with retreat. This was just regular haul.
This is regular haul.
From working at the cross stitch shop.
From ordering. And then we saw this at market, and I didn't get it there, but when it came in the store, I was like, I have done several of these, and I have some of them finished, actually, and now this will be my incentive to stitch these and get them all done.
Yeah.
And then,
that would be a great exchange piece for
Yes,
retreat
it
because
would.
they say what stitch and maker.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then this is the Modern Monthly Village. This is the May Mini. And I showed you last month that I bought the frame, so I have to do these. And then the other day when I was looking for something at the store, I saw this pattern by Paddle Pusher. It's called Winter Visitors, and I just really like it. I think it's so pretty.
And you love cardinals.
I do.
Yeah.
We feed them all the time. And so, I know why I got it. Because somebody at Retreat made this pattern that I'm going to show you, and they bought it. They bought it at the store, and we were like, did we buy that? And I guess we did, because it's got 25 on it, which means it was the market sticker. This is from Cherry Blossoms, and it's called Cherish. And so, of course, you know I had to have that. I had to have it. So as I was doing that, then I picked up the cardinal one too.
Yeah.
And then
we lucked out because last weekend was the anniversary sale at the cross stitch shop. So everybody who was there got to draw a little chip out of a hat, and there was a percentage off on your chip. And I think we had one of the lucky people who got 25% off. The highest one was 28, but I think one of our attendees got 25% off their purchase.
But it was not for the stuff that came from market. It was for other
It was for the other stuff. That's true.
Okay, then I had this the last time, but I couldn't find it.
You bought a
forgot about
dog?
it. Yes, because I was watching Georgia Girl Stitching. Shut your mouth. I was watching Georgia Girl Stitching, and she did this, but she did it in Christmas colors. And it is stunning. And so I had to buy it. But isn't that pretty?
Is it?
It's words.
1 down, 3 across.
Yeah.
Oh, it is all Christmas work.
Yes. And she did it in Christmas colors. And, you know, first of all, I like doing letters. Second of all, I love Christmas. And third of all, I'm a sucker. So what can I say? But I love it.
Oh, that's
I'll have to dig it out and show you.
I'll have to go look at hers.
She just had it done, and it, you know, I mean, the white is pretty, but in the colors, to me, it was just striking.
Yeah.
So I ordered it.
That would also be pretty on, didn't you buy the red Joylin fabric?
Yes, I did.
You could do it with a white thread.
Yeah. Okay, and then.
Ha ha.
You remember from last time, guess what made it home? Not commenting.
I don't know why she didn't just get it at market, but anyway.
Not commenting.
I was very good at the shop. I only bought 1 pattern during the sale. This is the flare. This is actually from last year's market. From Bent Creek, there were a bunch of these little flares, and they're so cute. And I know somebody who loves kitty cats, so that will be a little pick-me-up someday for that somebody. Yeah. That's all. And I bought some threads. I needed some threads.
Yeah, I bought a few threads along the way too. Okay.
Okay.
Now this
Wait,
is.
Before we go to Happy, can I share what I bought at Retreat? Because I bought a lot from the sale table.
Yeah, I was good.
So the sale table was great at Retreat. I had to Venmo somebody money because I bought so much stuff from hers. So first is this kit. It's called Nordic Yuletide from Summer House Stitch Works. It's a full kit. Everything's in this little envelope. And I think I'm going to switch the colors because I'm not really a brown person, but I might change that to a green or a red to do. Ooh. And then I bought fabric. 32 count, 28 count, 32 count, a full fat quarter, 32 count Lugana for $5. Another full fat quarter, 32 count Lugana for no, this was $10. I mean, you can't pass it up. And then another full fat quarter, 32 count opalescent flax. Then I had some fun at the freebie table, and I'm just going to hold these back. These are a couple of drawn thread patterns that I picked up. I love specialty stitches.
I think those were freebies at some point.
Oh, they might have been.
Because we don't allow photocopy patterns on.
Well, they were on the freebie table. And then I picked up the Keepsake 2021 because I fell in love with two patterns in this. Let's see if I can find them quickly without showing you the pattern. See this one in the middle? Doesn't that look perfect for somebody who's gonna live in the city, like maybe New York City someday?
Let me see. Oh, wow.
And look at the deer. Look at him. So cute. And the fox. I love them both. See the reindeer?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
So, oh, that would look good on this opalescent.
Yes, it would.
Look at that.
Perfect.
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 Maybe that'll be one of my Mania starts. We'll see. And then the last thing I picked up, this is going to be fun, was a French magazine. So somebody brought and left several French magazines. I took French for 5 years in middle school and high school, and I've never used it, but I'm going to have to use it if I want to stitch these pieces because the whole magazine is in French. No, it should be fine. The patterns were just a little different and so pretty, and what I really fell in love with was these two that are on the back. Surprise, surprise, a Biscornu. You guys know I love Biscornus. And then this one, it's just so neat. It's very different than anything you see in the US, I think. So I debated and then I decided to take it home. So those
and I was
my...
really good. I stayed away from the sale table and the free table because I always get in trouble when I get stuff off those tables. So
she
this
doesn't
time,
have enough to stitch already. That's why she gets
look
in
who's
trouble.
talking.
Yeah.
People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
My house is brick. Maybe that'll be the name of the episode. My house is brick. Oh, that's the other thing that happened since the last episode.
Oh, yeah. The tornado.
My gosh. A tornado went right by our house, maybe over it, and decimated the trees behind our house. Thank goodness.
And the tree in front of your house.
Our house is brick.
In the cul-de-sac.
I will put a couple of pictures in here. It was crazy. We have a basement. It's only about the third time we've decided we had to go to our basement because it got pretty scary and the weather was saying it was coming like directly towards our houses, and I was texting her. She doesn't have a basement. I was like, get in the bathroom. And when I went downstairs, we got the cat in the carrier. We got the dog carried downstairs because she doesn't do long stairs. And when I got down there, we heard the wind go by and I said, it sounds like a hurricane. And we came up about 15 minutes later and it was pouring rain. And I looked out the front window and looked to the left and I'm like, oh, there's not stuff all over the street. Because usually when there's a storm, there's, you know, tree debris all over the street. And then my son said, look at the tree. And I turned to the right and the tree that was in the cul-de-sac in front of our house was down flat and it had been like pulled up by the roots. Thankfully, it went the opposite direction of the car that we own, that he drives. And then we went around to the back and my husband got his big flashlight and we could see the house behind us, which we usually couldn't see because there was a whole grove of trees back there.
Not anymore.
And they all went down. It's crazy. So it was just super sad. It was, it's the worst to look out your house and what used to be beautiful trees and like birds and squirrels. And now they're just like a big old tangled mess. So we have a little bit of cleanup to do, but most of it is not on our property. So we're going to have to work with the homeowners association and the property owner behind us, and hopefully they will get it cleaned up. But
and then we went to Lowe's a couple days later. We had gone out to lunch and she went into Lowe's and bought a bird feeder and then came home and realized she had no place to put it because There was nothing to hang it on.
Nothing to hang it on. So we were incredibly lucky. We are so grateful that nobody in our neighborhood was hurt. Yeah. There were a lot of trees down. Some people had some pretty bad roof damage.
Siding. 3
chimneys fell down. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So there was a lot of damage. Our house lucked out that no trees hit us and they all fell away from our house. Luckily, all the trees that fell in that little area, none of them hit the houses, which was amazing.
Because, well, next door neighbor.
Well, that was the tree from her house. Yeah. But yeah, it was crazy. So anyway, I'll put a couple pictures in so you guys can see. Yeah. Okay, back to what were we talking about?
I don't know. But we had Bunko a couple weeks ago, and the person at the end who has the Bunko baby wins a prize. And Teresa had made this, and guess who had the Bunko baby?
Yeah. The best gorgeous person to have the Bunko baby because you really appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. It's all beaded. It's all beaded. It's gorgeous. And yeah, there are several people in our Bunko group who wouldn't necessarily appreciate handmade.
And there's also people items who are Jewish.
Yeah.
It wouldn't really, the Easter theme doesn't really go with it.
But yeah, so it was really exciting that I got to win it. And so I have, that's my Easter thing. Huh, I do have an Easter thing.
You go. Yeah. Okay, so now we'll go to retreat stuff. We had some gifts that were given to us specifically, some gifts that were given to everybody, and then we have our exchange pieces. Yeah. So let's start with maybe the exchange pieces. You saw what we put into the exchange. And I received from the exchange this very cute little case for scissors, and it has a little strawberry attached to it. And then you open it up and it has scissors, and she put needles in, and it's just an adorable case.
Who is that from?
I can't remember. I can see her face. I'll think about it.
It'll come to you eventually.
To me. Thank you.
If you know who you are, you can always send us an email. Don't
go back and look. Yeah.
Okay, and then I got "Behold with kind regard this humble work" from Martha, and she had done it, and it's got a nice little JBW button and everything. But that's really pretty, so that'll go in a bowl. And yeah.
And then Michelle gave me this pattern. Last year I bought the coffin when I was at Keepsakes, but I didn't have a pattern yet for it. And so I'm going to stitch this little pumpkin lady to go in my coffin. And her dress is like a greeny yellow. And so I decided either I'm going to change the color of the dress to purple, or I'm going to change the fabric color to purple, and then she'll pop right off of it. So thank you, Michelle. That is a very fun pattern. I can't wait to stitch it.
And Michelle knows from listening to us that I like petite needles. And even though I have large hands, I love to stitch with petite needles. So she gave me a pack of these to try, and I really like them. So I've been stitching with those, and thank you, Michelle. They're great.
And she gave me a pony black needle to stitch with, which is what I'm using on the Ireland piece. Yeah. And it took a little bit to get used to, but now I like it. Yeah.
And then Sandy gave everybody a thread holder, and what she did is she put medical tape here. So you can just write in your colors, and then when you're finished you can peel it off and put another piece of tape. And so that was kind of neat. It's really good, like if you have a Mill Hill kit, because you know they come with how many different colors, and then they have a light green, a very light green, an even lighter light green, and this way you can separate them. So that's really good. And then Liz in these little eggs, they appeared on our table.
The Easter bunny came one morning.
The Easter bunny. And oh wait,
you can see them.
Can you see them? Yeah. So we got, they're squishy.
They're like little squishy things, like stress balls.
So so we both got, everybody got a squishy Easter bunny.
Yeah. There was also another little thing. I don't know where mine is. A little duck. I don't know where that is. Okay, show that.
Okay, and then Debbie has what's it called?
3D printer.
A 3D printer. And she made these little guys for everybody. Now that's a lot of, can you see? Oh, it's a little frog. It's a little frog. So everybody got a little frog. So
my frog's in my bag still.
Yeah. So that was our little frog. And
yes, these next.
And then also, she made these for Jennifer and me, and they're bonsai trees. She did them with her 3D printer. She said it took 5 hours to do this base. And then she used colors that she knew we both would like.
Purple for me and blue for
and
Mom.
green.
And you can see down here.
And it's like,
it's really fun.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
Really neat.
I thought at first that this was fabric.
Yeah, it looks like fabric.
Pulled around.
It looks so shiny
but
and
it's
everything.
Not.
It's not. It's all done by the 3D printer. So thank you, Debbie.
You know what?
Those
we got to
neat.
figure out to make little teeny tiny ornaments that we can hang from these.
Oh, that would be fun.
Don't you have those little 1-inch hoops? We have to find those.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. That's right. And then Sharon gave us each a neat little bag.
Yes.
And it had a Stacy Nash ruler in it that said, maybe swearing will help. Did yours say that too?
No, mine says, my soul is fed with needle and thread.
So obviously, Sharon knew who she was giving it to. Thank you, Sharon. And then she gave us a skein of floss and a needle.
We both got Buckeye Scarlet.
Yep. And then, and polka dot scissors.
Yes.
And then.
These are gorgeous.
Yeah, aren't they beautiful?
They're stitched on perforated paper, and it looks like backed with scrapbook paper. And then there's the little
needle holder. Felt that has a needle on it.
I love this.
Yep. And then a really nice little notebook.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
These are fantastic.
And then we Kim also has a 3D printer. And she had sent a note saying, could you send me everybody's name? I want to make something. And so we, sure, and lo and behold, everybody who came got their name.
Yeah. And see, they jump up from the bottom.
Yeah.
Very cool.
They're really neat. Really neat. And so what was really neat was when we put out our show and tell, we could set these by our show and tell so people would say, oh, look who did that. Except some people didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
At all.
It was a great retreat. We had a good time. We really enjoyed meeting the new people who were able to come, and we're sorry that those who were signed up had to cancel, but also it was great to meet new people. And we're really sorry for those who were ill the week of and weren't able to make it. So we hope to see you both sometime soon.
Yes.
I think that's all the stitching stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
I have a little bit of quilting, and I think you do too. Yeah. You want to show yours first?
My son's middle grandson is at the University of Pittsburgh studying nursing. And so, I made Jack the University of Cincinnati pillowcase last time that's where he's going. And I checked, and lo and behold, they had University of Pittsburgh fabric. So I made Colin, if you're watching, Colin, don't look.
He's not watching this far. We lost him about 45 minutes ago.
I made him a University of Pittsburgh pillowcase. So
that's his
late birthday present.
Yeah, very
So that'll go in the mail this week.
And then I've been working on 2 things this month in my sewing room. I have been quilting a quilt, and I'm probably about 60% done with it. And I want to get it finished up and bound so that next time it's my time to have a quilt, which will be like 6 weeks away, it'll be done and it'll be our quilt of the day. And then the other project I've been working on is the flipping out bag, and it was flipping frustrating. I decided to make the small bag because I thought, I don't know that I have stuff that's big enough for the big bag, and I bet I have lots of things that'll fit in the small bag. As our friend would say, it's fiddly. So here's my finish. I finished it last night, right before my son came down all dressed up for prom, and I welled up because he looked so good. And
you teared up.
I teared up. Welled up, teared up, same idea.
Teared up.
Yeah. Okay. Watch out. I'll start saying I have a hankering for things again. That drives her crazy. That's what she gets for having a Texan. So there's mesh here that makes a little pocket, and then the inside has mesh in here, and the idea is that it can fold down. I don't know if it really does. Yeah. It kind of does. So your stuff would stick out. Like you could put pencils and scissors and whatever you want in it.
point turners, anything like that. Yeah.
It's a tough pattern, you guys. And making the small one, it was really fiddly to do. Like put this, you have to sew the circle in here. You have to sew binding twice. You have to round the edges. It's very thick. I used the soft and stable with mine because I wanted it to have some heft to it, which it does, but that gave me a lot of bulk to sew through. So
wow.
I will probably not make this one again. I might make the bigger one. It actually wasn't hard. Just like many by Annie patterns, it has a lot of steps. I think this was a 7-page pattern.
Oh.
For this little thing. So I want to give a shout out to Monique, who said she's made several of these and she can make them in one night. Monique, you're amazing. I can't make this in one night. This took me like months. Not months of sewing, but I cut it out ages ago by the time I finally started it. And I did want to share in the pattern, she has a code to watch her videos. My pattern was sitting on the other table when I got to the part where I needed to watch a video, and I went to her website and saw you had to pay for the videos, and then I got even more flippin' mad. And so I just went out to YouTube and I Googled flipping out bag, and I found videos from Fabrications Ottawa. And so if you're planning to make this bag, I highly recommend her video. She walks through the process and shows you what she does, and also tells you what she does a little differently from the pattern or the videos. She was making the big bag and she was commenting how fiddly it was. So even more so the small bag. But that's the saga of the flipping out bag. I guess I liked it in the end, and I'm sure I'll use it, but
not doing it again.
It was fiddly. I won't be making the small bag again. Good. Unless I wind up using it a lot and then I'm like, oh, this was great. I need to make another one. Remind me. What are your plans as you take a drink of your Diet Coke over the next couple of weeks?
Well, I haven't been upstairs much lately. And today it was a real challenge to get ready. So yeah. I do need to get up here and I do need to make some progress. I'm not saying I'm going to straighten the whole thing out, but I need to work on this room a little bit because it's pretty bloody bad.
Do you have any fun plans?
Fun plans? No.
Okay.
We're not doing much.
Yeah.
Staying home most of the time.
Yeah.
And next weekend.
But stitching, what's your next quilting project?
Well, I'm working on that table runner. And I took it all apart because I put it together wrong. And now I've got it partially reassembled. So I can work on that. But we haven't been sewing together because we've both been busy between retreat and Pam moved and everything. And next week she's going to be gone. And then, yeah, I want to finish. I would like to try and get some things finished since I do have some things that I finished stitching and everything. And just generally, the princess is coming home. So I may get her to help me clean out a closet.
We'll probably see them before she gets home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I have one closet that is desperately in need of help. And she was going to help me, but then she wound up helping me with other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if she would be willing to
she probably
help me with that. She likes that kind of stuff. Yeah. She'll get in there and just tear it all out.
Yes. Get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I can't do it myself, because I start cleaning stuff up and it's like, oh, look, like I have, 4 bags of cross-stitch projects over there, plus the cart, plus, And so, yeah.
Yeah.
And
she'll whip you into shape.
Yeah.
You think I'm bad.
I do have some help coming in. And so that's helping me a lot. I'm able to do a little bit more now, free up a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's good.
But hopefully I'll get to spend a little bit of time with Jack. Since he's going to be out of school.
He'll have
in a couple days.
Final orchestra competition, maybe next weekend or the weekend after. I'll let you know when it is.
Okay.
We don't know the time yet.
Okay.
So he'll have that, and then he has a jazz concert. I'll also let you know when that is. These things seem to be sneaking up on us. And then it will be kind of the lead up to graduation. His graduation is at either the very end of May or the very beginning of June. So we have a little bit of time still before that. But we're starting to pull things together, like the list, and thinking about what food he wants. Does he want a theme? All that stuff. He doesn't care about that stuff nearly as much as his sister did. So it's a little bit harder to like pull it out of him.
And
but
hopefully,
we will.
We did the grad party here for her, and I think we're planning to do that again.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
And we had a good day.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun for him.
We'll hope it'll be a little bit cooler than it was for her grad party.
Yes.
It was like 95 degrees.
Yeah.
It was very
But we had
hot.
shade.
We did have shade.
And by the end of the day, it cooled down enough, and then we drank enough beer that we were okay.
Yeah. We were fine by the end of the day. So, a few things going on. I will be trying to finish one more whip as we head into May, and then I need to start pulling together my 5 whips and 5 new starts. So I told you I took 3 new starts to retreat, but I actually took 4, but I only worked on 2 of them, that little wooden reindeer and the Ireland piece. So the other 2 were a piece I have kitted up to stitch as a shop model, and part of my Kathy Haberman seasonal pieces. I can't remember what they're called, that go on the ledge board.
Oh yeah.
So I think that they may be 2 of my 5 starts during Stitch Mania. I have learned from doing it over several years, I need to start a couple of small things, or at least one small thing that can be a quick finish, and then maybe one big thing and a couple in betweens. So I need to kind of go through my bag of kitted projects and figure out what it's going to be and make sure I get things fully kitted up and ready to go. And then I plan it out so that I know, like, would I rather work on whips or would I rather work on new starts over a weekend? Because that's when I have the most stitching time. So we'll see. I'll do all that planning probably next weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then next weekend, well, before that, one of my friends is running the Boston Marathon tomorrow, so I will be watching that virtually and wishing her all the best.
Yeah.
And then my daughter will be turning 20 years old in a week, so that's crazy.
That's scary.
Yeah, but we'll be celebrating her when she gets home in May.
All of a sudden, all my grandchildren are getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you're not getting old, too.
I'm not.
No?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, okay, we have a question for you, and it's about dying, not dying.
Not dying dead. Dying while you're alive.
Yes. So we want to know if you have ever dyed fabric or thread. If so, how have you done it? Have you done RIT dyes? Have you done the part where you like tea dyeing? Have you done snow dyeing or fabric, not just quilting fabric or cross stitch fabric or thread? We did some dyeing a couple of years ago and we had a really good time. And then one of us, me, bought the other one, her, a bunch of dye. I'm looking over there because it's back in that corner. And we haven't dyed since. So we're going to need to figure out a time this summer. Maybe I can take a couple days off.
Yeah,
we could
that
have
would
a
be
long
fun.
weekend and I can come stitch and sew and we can dye.
That's one thing we used to do during COVID because we couldn't go anywhere. And she would come like on Friday night and we would sew Friday and she would stay here and then we would sew Saturday. We'd go out for lunch and we'd go out for dinner and we'd tell my husband he was on his own. He could fix his own hot dog. And then we'd go out Sunday morning usually and stitch and she'd go home like about 2 or 3, 4 o'clock on Sunday. Or we'd head out for, no, we couldn't go for sushi because it was closed.
Yeah.
And then we got a lot done.
We did.
We got a lot done.
We had one time I worked on a bunch of finishing, FFOing.
And we did a lot of quilting too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've kind of gotten away from that because, well, the kids got busy as they were graduating and stuff. And then
I went back to the office.
Yeah. Going back to the office has kind of cut into our time together.
Yeah.
And I've had some more demands at home that haven't made it quite easy. So it would be nice if we could get that kickstarted
plan one
again.
Of those. After graduation, we could do a long weekend because it's an anniversary year for me at work, which means I have a little extra vacation. So I definitely have plenty to use. I could take a Friday off or a Monday off, either one, and we could have a 3-day weekend.
Right. That would be good.
Creating. So.
Yeah, that would be fun.
So let us know if you've done any dyeing. We're curious to hear. And if you did you enjoy it? Or did you say like, that was great, but I'm never doing that again? I am always so impressed with the dyers. that they can get the same recipe every time. That's the part. Now, of course, when we did it, we didn't measure. We were just like, oh, a capful goes in.
Yeah.
But to try and replicate that same color over and over again, that's the part that just really impresses
But
me.
even, you know, with the floss and everything, you look at the different overdyes, the sampler threads and weeks and everything, and they are fairly consistent, but there still are times if you're going to do a big project, you want to get 3, if you need 3 skeins, you need to get 3 at the same time, not wait for the next dye lot, because that could be totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's like, where is she? The lady in this pattern, that's an overdyed.
Yeah.
And if you look at the pattern cover, that color is Calico Kitty, and it's pretty solid.
Oh, and yours is really
but mine is really variegated.
Yeah.
Really variegated.
Yeah.
And so it's just something to remember, you know. If
I see that a lot in patterns that are older. I think there's just slight change over time, and then all of a sudden you have a different color. But anyway, thanks so much for joining us today and hanging with us through all our chitter chatter. It was great to share with you all that we've done. We're looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much for all of the kind comments that you leave.
Yes.
We really appreciate
we
them.
read everyone and comment on a lot of them.
Yeah.
But we love them. We feel like we have a lot of new friends. And the best part is many of you have, not many of you, but quite a few of you have been able to come to retreat, and that's how we've made a lot of new friends.
Yeah.
And
or stop in the shop.
Or come in the shop. Yes, yes. We look forward to that.
Thank you very much for your support of us. We appreciate it. And
if you want to contact us, our address is below. It's 2tallstitchers@gmail.com. Jen is on Instagram @JenQuilter. I am @GrandStitches. And I think that's it.
Everything is on my blog, quiltingmomsblog.blogspot.com. You can find the address below, along with links and information about the things we talked about in this episode.
And the retreat information is there too.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.